Hello, and welcome back to the Cooper Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper, and I'm here with Noah Fisher and special guest Owen Thompson from Villa on Tour is back as well. Yes, it's been 9 games, and we finally got the 3 points. It was a great win for Villa against Brentford, a huge performance in the first half especially, and we will be getting into all of that, plus the other 2 games we've missed in what's been a big week for Villa. We'll be talking about all of that and much more after this. And welcome back to Coop de Villa Live. It's the games are coming thick and fast now, and Villa have got the 3 points just when they needed it. Aston Villa 3, Brentford 1, and I'll start with you, Owen, because you were there at Villa Park. And it's been a difficult, couple of months. Villa have not looked like themselves, and we'll get into the Chelsea game and the Juventus game a little bit later on, but let's focus on the positive because that first half we were certainly back. It felt like our old self of this time last season, playing fluid football, scoring goals, and especially that first goal from Rodgers really turned back the clock. We had Kamara, Mings, these guys all putting in stellar performances. Rodgers as well, I thought was great. And how was it in the stadium? Was it relief more than excitement?
So I was saying to you boys just before we started about how I think everyone was a little bit on edge to start with. I mean, once we obviously got the first goal, it was a bit more like, whew. Yeah. And then the nerves get fired back up again when we have to decide who's going to take a penalty. Because we're all incapable of doing that. And even then, we made the hard work of it. But that was 2-0 very quickly. And then before you could even think about it, it was 3-0. And at that point, we were in cruise control. And I know we gave away a bit of a silly goal, but you could tell Brentford were a team that haven't won away all season. Yes. I don't quite understand that because at home they score for fun and they really make it quite difficult for teams. Whereas last night, in the first half, the midfield had so much fun. McGinn was everywhere. Rodgers was everywhere. Tielemans did what he does every single week, and Kamara cleaned up absolutely everything. So obviously, if we could play teams like that each week and overrun the midfield, then we would win the league. However, that's not possible. But again, I think the relief is just, it's done now. We've got to win. We're back on track. We'd like to look ahead onto Saturday. Again, team in a similar position, can't win away from home, can't buy a win anywhere really. And hopefully we can build on it. And then that should be us hopefully back in business.
Hopefully, yes. With another big game coming up against Southampton, who were beaten quite heavily and have been struggling all season. I mean, this game just felt, Noah, that it was it must win. Needed to be 3 points to get us back on track. And like Owen said, there was a bit of nerves around, but I thought some of the football as well as the actual result itself was really good. And I think the main thing for me was the silly mistakes seemed to be cut out. There was even when Brentford scored the goal in the second half and the second half performance dropped a little bit, we never looked like we were under the cosh and panicking and giving the ball away and kind of inviting pressure like we had been in previous weeks. So I think it was a really mature performance. And like I said before, Tyrone Mings, man of the match performance. And I think that leadership of his just really settled everyone down.
Yeah, someone put in the podcast, our last podcast, and it's been a long time since we've done one, Scott. Been a lot going on, and like a lot going on down here. Obviously, Felicity was asking where's Tommy, and Jeff answered. Tommy's flying off to America today. So he's been very busy packing and whatnot. I think he's over there for a week or two working, but we've just been absolutely flat out. You're obviously a dad now, Scott, so you've got a bit of an excuse. Better one than me. But back onto the game, it was like you said, 2022 Villa. It was great. Someone in the last pod said that Ming should be back in, and what a display. He is just an absolute man. He won so many aerial duels, and I love Pau Torres, but he just stepped in like, that position and some. He was absolutely unbelievable, and it's amazing what confidence brings. I still think players are lacking a little bit. Leon Bailey looked okay, I thought. I'm not sure anyone thought he looked all right. New haircut, new Leon, new Morgan Rogers, new Morgan. It's just one of those things, but I think it's something that will come. Hopefully Southampton don't show up to Villa Park and get a nice, easy win. It'd be nice.
It would be. I think, like Noah said, Owen, there still are a few guys that are kind of out of form, like, Bailey, maybe, Philogene had a horrible game against Chelsea last Sunday and, came on and didn't really look like he hasn't really shown much at all recently. And I still think we've got a few gears to go until we're sort of, at our best. But this was a lot of positive signs, and especially at the back, and it came really in the when the team sheet was announced, because I thought that Emi Martinez was going to be out for a few weeks with what I thought was a broken finger or something like that I'd seen in reports, but apparently he's got a bit of a sore wrist and he played through the pain. So that's great to see that he was in goal, and that back four, if we can keep a solid base there, hopefully the goals against will improve.
I mean, I touched on Noah said Pau Torres is probably up there with one of my favourites, and obviously I saw the team sheet and you're going, the boys he brought back Mings were going back to when we got promoted and 21 and whatever. But no, Mings won absolutely everything in the air that was thrown at him. And then I think that took the pressure off Konza a little bit as well, because I know we'll talk about Sunday, but Sunday Torres was a bit panicky, which meant Konza was a bit panicky. Martinez was a bit shaky. But I think it was a good game for Martinez just to kind of see where he is in terms of his hands and stuff, because luckily Brentford only had one shot on target, I think, which was the goal. So he didn't have a great deal to kind of throw his hands at and stuff. Most were just catching crosses. So that all helped. But if he feels fine, then you can't really knock him for wanting to start, because elsewhere in that department is a little bit worse for wear.
Now, and Duncan brings up a good question here, Noah. Like, what does this mean for Pau Torres? Obviously I agree with Owen. He's one of my favorites. I think he sort of has to play, especially against teams that maybe we're going to dominate the ball or they're going to sit deep against us, because he's got that passing range. He can play out from the back, and I'm not sure if we could maybe move Konza to right back, but I don't really like that either. So 3 at the back, but Emery never goes to that system. I don't think I've ever seen him play 3 at the back for Villa. So I don't know. Does Mings keep his spot for Saturday for you?
Absolutely, he does, and it's the same back four that Emery played when he first got in charge. Besides, I think Moreno came in and out of the left back spot, but he's gone back to what works, and we all know that Konza and Mings is what we needed, and it's solid and it does the job. Unfortunately, this season hasn't quite gotten a plan for Pau Torres so far, but last season, he filled the job of Mings, and it's just one of those things. For now, we need that solid aerial dominant defender to help us, clear those balls, because that's what was costing us a lot. That the headers wouldn't quite go to the right spot, and it would drop at an attacker or drop at a midfield, and they would score from that. And Mings just gets rid of it at the right time, and he's just so calm on the ball as well.
Yeah, and I actually noticed there was a few times that he went out and blocked shots, Owen, and that's something that Torres and Konza maybe isn't their strongest part of the game, just throwing their body on the line. They're more guys that sort of read the play, and try and intercept and try and stand up and win the ball after the attackers had a touch. Whereas Mings is a lot more aggressive and kind of throws himself at challenges, and I think that's a good combination with him and Konza, because you've got one guy sort of doing one thing and one guy doing another thing, and it's a good balance.
I think he really took the fight for your place comment pretty literally, because yeah, he was throwing himself all over the place. But again, this comes back to that same old comment we say every time we win a game. It's a good problem to have, having now 3-4 centre backs that are all more than capable of doing a job. Like, we haven't mentioned Carlos, and every time, well, okay, the majority of the time Carlos has stepped in, he hasn't. He's been fine. But yeah, Torres was having his moments. So I was a bit surprised with the change. I didn't think he'd bring him in. I thought he'd just stick with what he knows. But yeah, Mings fully deserving of I think he got man of the match in the end as well. Fully deserving of that, and fully deserving of his performance as well.
And he nearly scored a goal as well, Noah. He got up for a header in the second half. I really was trying to will that one in. Unfortunately, went over the bar. But he is a bit of a threat in the opposition box, maybe more so than Torres. And he's just so physical, so aerially dominant, and that's something we've missed, and it's great to see him. Another guy, Owen, I want to talk about is Boubacar Kamara, because since he's come back from injury, he had a little bit of a hiccup where he was out for a couple of games, but now he seems to be right back where he was, 18 months ago, and he is, I think, arguably maybe our most talented, important player. Sometimes, he's fantastic.
Think he's back to before he got injured, he was easily our best player we had.
Yes, I agree.
But now he's just starting to find that form. He's getting his minutes. He's not having to play through 90 each week as well. They're still managing his minutes.
Yep.
And you can't knock the first goal at all from Rodgers. However, the whole move came from Kamara turning two people in the middle of the park. That opened up all the space in the middle for everyone else to go and do what they were doing for 60 odd minutes. And then, and then the finish is there. But yeah, Kamara again, like Mings won everything in the air. Kamara won everything if it was coming towards him on the deck all night. Cleaned it up, looked for one of the midfielders, and that's where we're good when you have those extra midfielders playing. Tielemans was always around, so yeah, he was sensational again last night, and I think he's getting back to his best very quickly as well.
Absolutely, and I think one thing that we've spoken about, Noah, is like the lack of legs in midfield over the past few weeks. The fact that we have looked kind of slow and we've been easy to transition against. And I just think with a fully fit Kamara and you slot an Onana in there next to him, maybe against some of the bigger teams that are dangerous on the break, that's starting to look like a pretty tasty, physical midfield that can do a job both ends of the field.
That's what I was going to say. It's amazing that Onana's not in this midfield and we actually dominated it. Brentford scored the second most goals in the league and they couldn't get past our midfield, to be honest with you. It was absolutely class in there. McGinn was playing a bit of a unique position. I'm not sure where you'd say he was playing, but he was kind of dropping into midfield but going up attacking a lot more as well, like on the left-hand side. You got Ramsey, who is never fit, but he's got to come back in. You got Onana that's never far away. And then Kamara, it's such a good problem to have for those positions. And I don't know how Emery's going to get them all in or get them all playing football, but it's an unbelievable problem to have now. And we've been missing it. We really have been.
Absolutely. And I think, Owen, like for me, I would love to see Kamara, Onana, and Tielemans in there as a sort of a three. Maybe Tielemans a bit more of a role to go forward, if he likes, sort of how. But then, then you start asking questions like, where does Rodgers play? Where does McGinn play? Barkley? There's, it is a nice sort of headache for Emery to have.
I guess it comes down to who you're playing each week. You probably don't need Onana, Tielemans, and Kamara against Southampton, for example. Yeah. Whereas that might work better in a few weeks if we're playing City, and we might have to. Well, they will just have more of the ball anyway. I
don't know. This version of City, we might,
it
might be different.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah. There's players that complain about it. And to be fair, if Bailey doesn't sort himself out anytime soon and he needs a goal, really, then it could just be a complete overload of midfielders in the team. And someone like McGinn might be told, stay right out wide and cause the fullbacks more problems. Yeah. But yeah, we don't get paid to do that, make those decisions. That's down to the gaffer.
How do you think McGinn feels about that? Because he is like our longest serving player. He's like a stalwart of the club, and he seems to be like just the guy that slots in where he's needed. But do you think I mean, when you see him for Scotland, right, he's got that role. He knows where he's going to play. He's going to play in a front three, just in the number 10 role, behind the striker, coming off the right-hand side. Him and McTominay for Scotland seem to work really well in that role. And he scores a lot of goals and looks really dangerous for them, in games where they're the underdog. Scotland are playing, I watched the recent one against Croatia. He scored, but he seems to get the best out of himself playing for his national team. But I don't know. Like at the moment, I just don't see him being at his best for us.
Your dogs disagree, mate.
I know. They've, I don't know. They've seen someone at the front. Hey, come out. Come on.
You tell them, Scotty. You get him into gear, mate.
So what do you think about McGinn? How do you think he's going with this?
I think he gives a 7 out of 10 every week, but I think he knows. Okay, the dog thinks 8, but I think he must because like you said, he's the more experienced. He knows the club well enough now. He's probably said, "Look, I'll go where you need me to go. It helps the team at the end of the day." But there could be times we don't see behind the scenes where you go in the week and he's like, "Right, you're going to play in this more of a central role." You get to the Friday, Bailey pulls up, and it's, hang on a minute, you're going to have to shift out wide, and everything changes then. I guess it's good to have that versatility, but again, that will come with maybe less, not a poorer game, but maybe not as not as impactful. Sorry. So
yeah, I think Jeff says, sums it up nicely here. Like he's always there. He's always like 7 out of 10. 8 out of 10. He's not really, he very rarely has a bad game. So, you can slot him in anywhere. And I guess, that just shows his maturity and his versatility, which is great. Great to see Rodgers get a goal, Noah. The first goal, like we spoke about, was brilliant play from Kamara to start off. I think Mings cleared it, good clearance to him. A little turn in the midfield, out to Rodgers, over to Watkins, back to Rodgers, and we saw him scoring quite a few goals like this, in his early days at Villa and at Middlesbrough as well, like coming in off that sort of left-hand side, curling it into the far corner, and it was just top bins, perfect finish.
It never looked like missing. And I will say something, the commentators, we had an Optus Sport over here, I'm not sure if you remember it, Scott. I believe the quote was the former Sunderland man after he scored the goal. So that was a bit of an embarrassing moment for the commentator, but what a finish.
Getting your northeast clubs mixed up. Like
it's just so stupid, but it's the new bleached hair. It's got to be the new bleached hair, a bit of flair. He didn't do the cold celebration. I think he warmed up Villa Park with that goal. So, but as you said, it's goals we used to see. It's movement we used to see when he first came to the club in January, early this season as well, when he was flying. Who's told Rodgers his hairstyle looks good? If he's scoring goals in it, I don't care. I don't care as long as he's impacting the scoreboard.
Look, maybe he needed a change because he had struggled a bit the last couple of
Bailey
games.
Changed his hair.
Yeah, well, that didn't work so well for him, but
not yet.
Not yet. But no, I think Rodgers has looked quite annoyed, quite frustrated recently. Like his body language hasn't been the best in moments, and I think that it was good to see him smiling again and getting the goal. And then obviously, Owen, like in sort of other times, maybe against Bournemouth, we would go 1-0 up, and then we sort of sit back, or we let the other team come on us, and that's not what that's not what we want. And we just kept attacking, kept playing, and got that second goal pretty quickly. It was, of course, the foul by Pinnock on Watkins. And look, when I first saw it, I wasn't too sure if it was a foul. I mean, he was clumsy, but it's, I guess, this day and age, if any kind of contact from behind like that, and it has to be a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, from where I was sat, I'll touch on that in a minute, but from where I was sat, I thought it was a penalty. It looked like he'd gone to kick the ball, missed it. But then my dad said it looked like he tripped himself up and then got fouled. I think the momentum from Pinnock and the pair of them running, he just ended up clattering into him, and I can see what he's going to be. It took a while to decide.
A long time to decide.
But everyone just kind of stood there like, is he going to give it? But I think it was one of them. If he hadn't have given it, they'd have probably had a look at it and decided. I think, did they check it at all? I think
they checked it, yeah.
Yeah,
they also checked the red card. I mean,
they did, yeah.
Is there an argument that he should have been sent off?
No, I don't think so.
I think that would have been incredibly harsh.
Yeah, very harsh. Yeah.
Like, it's good to check it, but I'd have been pretty like, oof, that's a bit stiff.
He was last man.
Exactly.
Yeah, Duncan feels like he should have gone, but I don't know. I think he tried.
It's like a coming together, if that makes sense. It's still a penalty, but I don't think it was red card worthy.
No,
I would have taken it. I would have taken it, absolutely, if he'd walked.
Sure. And then Noah, we scored the third goal. Matty Cash, first goal of the season, which is great to see. He's also, I think, played quite well recently in a struggling team. He's been certainly not the furthest, not one of the worst. And he gets his goal, a nice volley at the back post. But there was a bit of controversy with this one as well. With Ollie Watkins, was he offside? Because he definitely goes for the ball. It's one of those ones where we saw Southampton a week or so ago have a goal ruled out for a similar incident. And I thought it was going to be disallowed, to be honest, but we got away with that one.
Yeah. Well, apparently, they actually didn't show the lines or if Watkins actually was offside because Collins could have been playing him on, Nathan Collins. They never actually showed a slow down version on TV. So it's hard to say. If he's offside, then it probably should have been disallowed, but he actually didn't touch the ball at all. Pinnock actually still won the header. Watkins didn't touch Pinnock or anything like that. Is he still interfering with him? I guess Pinnock knows he's there.
He's interfering.
He knows he's there.
They're challenging. They're both going up for the ball.
Yeah.
There might not have been any contact, but I still think it comes under the sort of he tried to play the ball.
That's the new era that VAR is going into. We've had the whole handball palavers. Now it's are they interfering? Obviously, City had that goal at Wolves stay very last minute.
Very lucky, yeah.
Southampton had that one that was chalked off, although again that was a rough one because although I think it was Armstrong was in an offside position, the ball went behind him anyway.
Yeah,
so he was never going to get there. And
we had one chalked off early days of VAR when we first got back to the Prem. I think was it Barkley or McGinn's goal versus Arsenal. Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's such an unlucky situation to find yourself in, and it's just the rules. But if it was disallowed and it was clearly offside, I don't have an issue with it. It's just the rule thing. It's just it. But they didn't. It was really weird. They didn't really check it. They didn't show any slow motion replays on it. The commentators were like, "Oh, I think he was offside. He's offside. It's disallowed." But that was it. There's chat on it for 5 minutes.
A bit of a mess of a goal, anyway. Really,
it was. Yeah.
The whole move was just a bit of a mess. I think it got cleared 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. But it was, good from Rodgers again. Another assist. And McGinn actually went on a nice run for the goal. He kind of got into a position to put the initial cross in that got cleared. So I like to see McGinn when he's using his backside and he's going past people. He's using his physicality to try and muscle his way through. I think that was the best version of McGinn. I mean, in his younger days, especially these championship days, he used to do that all the time. Just go past people, use a bit of pace, a bit of sort of low center of gravity. Yeah. And, it's kind of probably, getting a bit older and maybe lost a yard here and there. But no, it was great to see him being positive. And
good to see.
Owen, you were going to tell us a bit of a story about your experience at the game yesterday. So go for it.
If anyone follows me on Instagram that's listening, you may have noticed. So I was in, like a lot of people, 2 minds about going last night. When Amazon take hold of the games in the UK, they muck around with the times way too much. So our game ended up kicking off at 8:15, which is very late, and it causes a bit of a nightmare for people that are trying to get home on the train or whatever else. So I was like, I'm not too bothered if I don't go. And then a friend of my brother's, we'll put it that way, was like, "Oh, I've got a seat in hospitality," and I was like, what hospitality is it? So anyways, long story short, I ended up in the director's lounge for yesterday.
Wow.
I ended up in the director's lounge with a 5-course meal and open bar and stuff like that.
Lovely.
For anyone, I'm still anti-heck.
Yes.
But I won't knock the experience. It was really nice. No, it was quality. We got fed very well, and we had our own table in the director's lounge. Saw all sorts of people. Had a 10-minute chat with Alan McInally. So that's rolling back the years for the old.
Absolutely.
And yeah, he was brilliant. He was doing some work for Villa TV or whatever it is. And he was chatting to us for ages. We saw Onana was in one of the boxes, so he was moping around, and I can confirm he is as big as he looks on the pitch. Like I think he's taller than me, and that's that says a lot. Like he is massive.
Did he say if he's going to come back soon?
No, but he seemed to be walking fine, so hopefully it's not too long. At the very end, McGinn was in a box as well, shoveling pizza in, so I think he'd earned that. But yeah, the whole experience I couldn't knock it. I mean, it's one of those where you can't. I don't think you can just buy it like on the website, like all the other ones. You have to phone up, but I think through someone's work company, there was just happened to be a spare seat, and I thought, well, I can't say no to this.
No, not at all.
But what you could see was the view of the game from there is beyond anything. You can watch the game just unfold in front of you. You could hear Emery going mad on the touchline, and a very good experience.
Were the seats heated?
They were not. We did get the super squishy ones. However, they were not heated, but it wasn't as cold as it has been, so it wasn't too bad. And they gave you blankets and stuff like that when you were walking out. So Luke was sat there with a blanket on his lap. He was ready to go.
That's the hardcore fans with the blankets on their laps.
But yeah, anyway, back to the plastic seats on Saturday.
Yes, lovely. Well, that's amazing.
But yeah, it was an incredible experience.
Fantastic. So, was any of the? Did you see Heck? You didn't? Was he there?
No. Oh no, that was one. He was in a wherever he sits with Dean Smith and his son.
All right, nice.
Luke saw it. I'll tell you who I did speak to quickly. I can't think of his name. Damien, the one who's mates with Monchi.
Okay, yeah.
One of the sporting director guys. He was.
Yes, I know the one. Yeah,
he's always on the photos and stuff. Yeah, he walked past me and he said hello. So, I think because.
And do they recognise you from Villa on Tour? Are they fans?
I don't know if he was, but there was one of the waitresses when I ran to grab my coat before kickoff. Was like, "Oh, I see you on the YouTube all the time." That was
fantastic. That's amazing.
No, of course. But yeah, where all the directors go was built within the room that we were in, so they were kind of floating in and out.
It's kind of a weird setup in there because I went on the tour in there. It's like you can kind of see into their room, but there's like hundreds of tables around their room, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like it's quite a weird setup.
Well, I went about 6 months ago for a TNT Sports like TV show thing with a few old Villa players just talking about their time and stuff, and it was completely different back then. There was more, but now they've ripped it out and made it quite.
And a few weeks ago, Max did a video where he was in the hospitality, and he was, kind of maybe saying that it's a bit too pricey. Just maybe you don't get bang for your buck. But I think he enjoyed the experience, and like they obviously, this is something that the club's got to do to sort of. Target the fans coming from overseas and, tourists and people with a lot of cash and try and get that revenue up so we can obviously buy more players and, obviously,
I think the difference
reinvest.
is Villa is a club that isn't yet going to attract those sorts of people too much. I think Villa is one of those old school, die-hard fans clubs where everyone lives within the surrounding areas and stuff. So I think it's going to take a while. And I mean, if I've been honest, I think there's almost too many hospitality packages now. There's a lot in the Doug Ellis that don't get picked up at all. You always see like patches of dotted seats around the ground now. There's always some in the top of the North Stand. There's always some in the top of the Trinity.
The Holt as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, at the back of the Holt where the terrace is, there's always the odd few seats there. And whenever you go to have a look closer to the game for tickets, it's always all the normal seats are sold out, but you can pay 300 quid to have a couple free drinks in a nice bar before kickoff. And it's like, well, people aren't going to buy that when they just want to watch the football and enjoy it. People are more than happy to go and have a drink in Birmingham or in the pubs outside the ground or whatever. But obviously, I know the one Max was in was almost a bit more informal. And many years ago, I joined him in there for one. It is quite relaxed and quite informal. Whereas the one I was in last night was very formal. They're kind of waiting on your hand and foot.
Dress code?
Yeah, they're not too fussy, but as long as you don't turn up in tracksuits and stuff like that. Like we had jeans on and stuff like that. That's a great question. So I walked in and they gave us these canapé things and I was like, oh, this is not me. I'm not about this fine eating. I'll just eat loads and loads. But they were quite nice. And then to be fair, the food was stunning. We had these like pulled pork thingies for starters and we effectively had like a curry for our mains. And yeah, all the food was done quality. And then you got little pies at half time as well. I don't know, for ones that go often, you'll see that the hospitality lot don't tend to drift out till about 3 or 4 minutes into the second half. Because you get all these pies and you can order drinks before half time and everything.
Balti pies?
No, it wasn't, but I know they do sometimes do Balti pies. So.
Okay. I miss a good Balti pie from when I was at Villa Park. Oh, that's something we definitely don't get over here in Australia.
Yeah, we get 4 and 20s, mate.
Not the same quality, you know. I do love a good Balti pie. Let's talk a little bit about the games that we haven't touched on.
Do we have to?
Let's just quickly go over them. We lost. Let's do the Juventus game first because I think that game obviously was a huge atmosphere, a huge occasion. But we were going through this tough run, and it was a bit of a disappointment in the. I think there was just that nervousness in the crowd that we've spoken about going in. 0-0, it was a bit of a fizzer. Not really a great game for the neutrals, but I actually was quite confident the defense looked nice, looked good, looked more solid. We didn't give Juventus many chances at all. And even though the coverage I was listening to with Alan Smith as the co-commentator kept praising Juventus and how brilliant they were, even though they hadn't had a shot on target all game, until the Martinez save that I wanted to touch on, Noah. One of the best saves I've ever seen, let alone from a Villa goalkeeper, just all time. That was incredible.
That was unreal. I'd say I've been a bit of a bad Villa fan, I should say, the last couple of weeks because of my work schedule. So that Juventus game started at 7:30 in the morning, maybe our time, maybe it was, I don't know, but I was at work refreshing the scores, and then you get the pop-up, all my mates are going, what a save, how's he saved that, what's going on? I'm like, just have no idea. And you see the save back. I don't know how he's done it. No. I don't think any other keeper saves that. Like, it's just one of those things, it's just pure reflex. Is it luck? I don't know. But I just don't think
I think it's anticipation, it's instinct, it's just quality stuff. And that's why I guess we were all so worried when he came off injured against Chelsea, because he makes such a difference for us. And he might not be having his best season, but when he can pull off saves like that, they're just that might be the difference between us getting in the top 8 of the Champions League or not at that point.
100%. Where do we? Are we still in the top 8 now? Are we still 8?
No,
we're just outside. I think. Yeah, but we're equal with the teams that are in 8th. So equal points, 10 points.
Yeah.
And we've got Leipzig away coming up, and they've lost every single match. So I mean, they are a good side, and they're they had a very good year last season in the Bundesliga and in the Champions League actually. They were quite unlucky to go out to Real Madrid in the round of 16. last year, and they've got a really phenomenal front three of Sesko, Penda, and I forgot the other guy, but he's the three very good young talents.
Javi Simmons,
Simmons, yes, of course, that's the one. And so like they're going to be difficult, but I think maybe they might have switched their focus to the Bundesliga because it looks like it's going to be difficult for them to qualify. So if we could get something out of that game, that sets us up big time for the last two matches, which are Monaco away and Celtic at home. So we're still in a great position. We're still in a good position in the league, Noah. Like honestly, we're at 7th with 6 points off second. Yeah. So we can rectify this.
It's pretty ridiculous, and we've only still conceded 1 goal in the Champions League.
And that was Tyrone Mings picking the ball up. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't exactly like we got broken down.
It's one of those weird situations we're in, Scott. And obviously, we haven't really touched on the Chelsea game, which I think we should just better off forgetting. It was one of those days where nothing went our way and whatnot. And the 3-minute highlights I had to watch in the morning because I have work, obviously. I don't think there was one Villa highlight in the 3-minute package. Like it was one of those days when it's just
there was Ollie had a couple of missed chances.
Oh, that chance, game.
Where I think I don't know, a different kind of Ollie in a confident moment. I think he just belts that. I don't know. He goes for the place finish quite a lot. Like the sort of side foot place finish where I mean if you remember his goal for England in the semi-final of the Euros, he's got a good strike on him, and I've seen him do it for Villa as well. Like, just have a ping, just put your laces through. I think
he had a similar chance last night as well.
He did. I was going to say, yeah. Look, I think it's a man that's not confident. I mean, we haven't really with the penalty. As soon as he picked it up, it wasn't one of those things. I was thinking to myself, "What's Scott going to say to me if he misses?"
Well, we did speak about it.
That's all I was thinking when he picked up the ball.
Forget that. What was Tommy going to say?
Of course.
Lucky that's why he went to America.
Yeah.
But me and Noah last week had a bit of a back and forth about because I didn't think Tielemans should have taken the penalty against Palace because I just think, Ollie had just scored in that game, a nice goal going around the keeper. He looked confident. He is our centre forward. And I was just shocked when Tielemans stepped up. I thought it would be Ollie, but Noah disagreed and thought Tielemans was the best man for the job. And
I didn't say that.
You said you thought he'd get the next one.
I thought he would, but I said if Ollie had taken that against Palace and missed, you'd be ripping him. Why the hell's Ollie taking it? He hasn't scored one in ages. And his penalty wasn't that good. Like it should have been saved. It should have been saved.
But it went in, Noah. So it went in.
It did. Yeah. It did go in. That's still a big issue for us, though. That is, for me, that's still a big problem because Ollie just did not look confident taking that penalty.
Because it definitely cost us against Palace. I think we would have won that game if Tielemans scores that penalty because they basically go down the other end and make it 2-1 straight from the corner that resulted from the save of the penalty. And, it's one of those things that, we've got to get better and hopefully Ollie can get confidence and start smashing them in, and we can sort of move past it. But good question here from Coxie. Are you going to Germany for the Leipzig game?
So I was in two minds about it, with it being so close to Christmas. But obviously, I'm going to Leipzig on. I'm flying Monday night.
Excellent.
So I'll be out there.
You going to Monaco?
No. That one I'm putting my foot down.
Because that would be quite expensive.
Yeah, a few Christmas shifts would have to be done for that one.
Absolutely, that's a weird stadium at Monaco as well. Because they very rarely sell out. There isn't that many people that actually live in Monaco during the winter because a lot of them are sort of rich people that fly in for the summer or whatever, and. Yeah, it's a weird stadium, weird atmosphere of that ground. But I mean, Monaco is a tourist destination, so it would be interesting to go to that one. But I'm sure, I can understand why. Because you'd have to probably sell a kidney to to get over there. But
We do have a couple of questions in here though from Roger.
Okay, go for
We've
it.
got two from him. So this is the first one. Priorities in the winter transfer window, right back and right wing is what he thinks. Cash is playing well at the moment for me. Do I still need to replace him? I don't think it's a. I think it's a summer transfer window issue for me. I think he can still hold his own for now. And plus, as much as we hate seeing
I think we need a defender. I think we do need a defender.
Yeah.
Like
in the loan market, though, for me.
Maybe, yeah. Loan like we got Longley in last year. Someone who can maybe play right back and
We're
centre
really
back.
missing Callum Chambers, CDM, centre back, right back.
Oh, yeah. So
getting back from Cardiff. I'm quite gutted he's gone.
And I mean, I guess the other one would be, winger maybe. But just because Bailey and Philogene are both sort of out of form right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And would you be happy to finish 5th at the end of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. Buy a handoff right now.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'd be happy. I'd be happy with European football.
Yeah, I was gonna say as long as if you stay in the top 7, then
top 7 I'd take right now, just because it's if we continue to keep finishing in Europe, that's gonna be a building block to something bigger and better down the line. I mean, there's just too many good teams and too many teams with financial capabilities that are ahead of ours that, we can't finish in Champions League every single year. I mean, if we do finish in 5th and England get a 5th place for the Champions League, I think that's probably the only chance we have of being in the Champions League next year. I don't think we'll get 4th. And even 5th, the likes of Tottenham, Man United, Newcastle, Brighton would have to drop off a little bit, I think. I mean, there's a lot of good teams. Forest even.
They're playing well. Brighton's playing well.
Yeah.
Brighton look good.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I just, if we finish 8th and miss out on European football altogether, I think that would be disappointing. But anything higher than that, I would probably take right now. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely. So I guess we look forward to Southampton. Hopefully, do you think it'll be an unchanged team? Can you see any?
I don't know.
I could see maybe 1 or 2 changes, maybe, because he does like to do that when we have, 3 games in a week. He does, maybe like a Madsen for Digne, maybe Pau Torres will come back in, maybe for Consa. It could be Mings and Torres for a bit of a change, but they're both left-footed, so maybe not that. And then Barkley, perhaps. Tielemans has played quite a lot. He doesn't seem to be rested much.
I guess when you say you bring to light that it is 3 games in a week, maybe you don't need to look too much into the Torres change. Maybe it's just because if he's tired, then that's where the mistakes slip in. And what now means he's back to his full fitness. Then that's when you can bring those sorts of players in.
Let us know in the comments if you think there should be any changes or what you'd like to see for Southampton.
Because one lock is Archer's going to score. That's one guarantee.
Yeah.
It's like bet on it now. It's going to happen.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Yeah, you can put a bet on that one because
that
seems to always happen. Same with it's like every team. If any player is going through a goal drought or if any player is sort of struggling, 100% he's going to score against Villa. It just seems to be the way.
Yeah.
I would bring back Douglas Luiz on loan.
I was going to say loan. They wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
On loan for the end of the season, I would. Why not? That's a penalty taker sorted then.
Yeah, just bring him into penalties.
Can you imagine if he came back and was just like on fire? Like that would be quite a story.
It would.
It would be almost like we just rinsed Juventus. We took 2 players and they paid us 40 odd million and then we just got him back anyway. So
it'd be so funny.
It's quite funny the way he hasn't even really got a chance at all at Juventus.
No.
I mean, he has his chances, he gets injured.
Right.
But I don't think he's really got injured for Villa that much, I don't think.
No, he never really did. That's what I was thinking. Never really got injured. Didn't miss a lot of games unless he got a silly red or whatnot, which did happen every now and then. But he's a player I do miss. He was very calm on the ball. But then the thing is, kind of what we tried to do when we sold Grealish, right? We tried to replace him with a couple of players like Kamara's so calm on the ball. Tielemans is good at driving the ball up. Rogers has the carry. So we've kind of got like that all in, like the midfield's now evolved into, it's not just like a one-man show sort of thing. And everyone does a role that really helps. And I'd absolutely take him back. Did love Douglas Luiz. He's an absolute character and a great player for us. But, it is what it is.
We'll have to wait and see. If Unai wants him back, then I'm fully in support.
100%.
Should we do predictions for Southampton? I'm going to start because Tommy's not here. I'm going to take Tommy's role. I'm going to say 7-1 Villa.
7-1 Villa.
There you go.
And you're blaming that on Tommy not being here, but that's what you legit think.
Look, well,
Tell me
why not? Why not?
It's our first win since the middle of October.
We're back. We're back, Owen. We're back. We're going to explode. All right. And Southampton are utter trash. So
KM Guard has a big win as well.
I'd be disappointed to concede 3, to be honest. That would be kind of annoying.
Cameron Archer. We scored 27, but Archer scores a hat trick.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
I think it's going to be like a 3-1 or like a 2-1 sort of thing. I don't think we're going to smash them. We're still not playing that good, but yeah, I don't know.
So which one are you going?
3-1.
3-1.
I'll keep level headed and say 8-0. No, I was going to go 3-1, but I think his next biggest concern now would just be to keep a clean sheet. So I'll go 3-0. It would be nice. They had Jack Stevens sent off last night. Has anyone seen that back, the red card?
Yeah.
Which one?
The one
he
where
pulled his hair.
He pulls Cucurel's hair from the
Yeah.
So that's a midfielder that I think is a bit more experienced out. But again, they're very shaky at the back. Southampton, they leak a lot of goals. So
we got a former player Benderek as well. Plays for them. The Villa legend Benderek, who.
I did see that great man play. Also, Augustusson. He was my claim to fame. I think they played in the same game.
You don't want to. I guess you don't want to. Brighton should have steamrolled Southampton the other day, and we're lucky to get a point out of it by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But again, if we get an early goal, then
over.
We should be fairly cruising.
Yeah. Yeah, 7-1.
I think I'd like to say after last night, after they scored and had about 5-10 minutes, I think the last 20 minutes, we really shut the game out well.
Yeah.
Granted, we could have scored more, but I think we really did well just to shut the game out and make sure we did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very different to previous weeks where we looked very nervous, especially going ahead and trying to hang on to a lead. We just looked like we're all over the shop, and we were solid and quite experienced. Like people were going down, taking fouls, staying down, slowing the game down, using a bit of experience and a bit of know-how. And that's great to see. Should we do fantasy before?
I can do fantasy.
All over a week this week.
I'll see if I can throw it up.
I had a bit of a mare. I took Salah out as my captain and put in
Saka,
he didn't do anything.
Can you guys see this? I'm not sure if you can. No, it's not letting me for some reason share it. But I can go through some stats.
Who's top of the league, Noah?
Yeah, clearly it's you. I haven't even looked. It is still Scott Cooper by 40-odd points at the moment. Let's go with Tommy, by the way, quietly going about his business. He's up to 5th. Ooh. Tommy's 5th, so he's in a European spot.
If anyone,
I have gone up to 17th.
Oh, Noah.
Owen has dropped to 18th.
Out of the relegation zone.
Owen has dropped to 18th.
Yeah, I've had a stinky week this week.
I've 35, but I've still got 2 players to play, I think.
I've got 3 to play still, I think.
And I had Gabriel with a donut, so
Watkins was on my bench.
I forgot
to do it.
Yeah, I got Simeone and Smith Rowe to play, and Robertson's, that's 3, and I have a Gabriel 0, and I'm on 61 points. But it's all about the relegation battle.
That sounds like a skill issue.
It is. It is a skill issue. I also didn't have Haaland for the first 10 weeks, whatever it was. Now, who's
That's
bottom? Should I give a shout out to who's bottom?
Yeah, definitely.
Of the Coupe de Villa Superliga.
And where's Zulu Warriors?
Zulu Warriors.
Our Birmingham City fan.
This is Brian, who Zulu Warriors is second.
I know. Yeah. I got to keep him out of the top spot. We can't have a Blues fan winning it. That's
your brother's 4th. Justin Cooper's 4th. So Clifford, Villa fan in Australia in Brisbane, he's off the bottom with a 63-point week. He's off the bottom by 2, and Luca is bottom of the Coupe de Villa Superliga, who's on 620 points. So I'm 70 points clear of bottom, which is good. But I've got to keep this. So Owen, I'm only above you by 2 points. So it's a bit of on the tomorrow's games, bit going on.
Yeah.
Well,
bit in it.
You guys can still join the league if you haven't already, and please let us know in the comments. How relieved you are that Villa got the 3 points. Please like and subscribe and all that. Tell your friends. Make sure you do some comments in the comment section when the video goes up as well, because that really helps our algorithm. And what a feeling! I've forgotten how it felt to win a game, and boy, that's a huge relief and great feeling to see us playing some good football again. And hopefully that may continue with Southampton around the corner. So up the Villa. Thanks, Owen, again for coming on.
No problem.
And we will see you all next week. Up the Villa. See you.